Hello and welcome to the DraftKings Daily Trot. I'm Big Italy 42. He is Scott Mailwig at Sports 25 to Life, and we're talking about tonight's action on DraftKings. We're skipping the 6 o'clock game because all the normal slates, all the money is at 7:05, so that's what we're talking about here. So skipping that first game, and we'll get right into it here with pitcher, where there's a lot of big names here, but not a lot of them in great spots. You've got Chris Sale at Milwaukee, where they are a bottom 5 team against lefties, but finally getting healthy. Carlos Gomez back. Sale hasn't looked like himself. He's a very marginal favorite, minus 110 right now against Mike Fiers. So you don't love that, but you love the strikeout upside. Striking out about 23% of the time. Something's got to give here because he hasn't looked great, but neither have the Brewers. At $9,400, though, he still seems like one of your better options. And if it's not going to be him, it's got to be Jake Arrieta, right around a minus 140 favorite right now. Another team in the Mets that's bottom 5 against this time righties. He's 8,600. So those look like the top 2 options. I certainly don't trust Strasburg on the road at Arizona at all right now. So, I mean, are you looking at those same 2 guys, or is there someone else up top that you prefer?
I don't mind AJ Burnett too much. I think he's a pretty decent cash game play. I mean, he's not a big strikeout guy anymore, but he's looked pretty good lately. I mean, he's gone 7 innings in 2 of the last 3 starts, 3 total earned runs in his last 3 starts. I mean, he's pitching pretty well right now. We talked yesterday quite a bit about how bad Philly's been offensively. I just think he's a pretty decent play. Don't love his price. He's just going to be a guy that I'm using in cash games, really, for the most part.
Yeah, he seems like a guy that he's a pretty big favorite, right around 160. A guy that, or minus 160, I should say. A guy that probably won't kill your team. He's probably not going to give you 30 points, but he should give you around 20, maybe 25 against a weak offense. So you got to like that. Some upside guys for tournaments. Obviously, Mike Fiers, his 30% strikeout rate, but obviously big concerns as well with home runs. You got a couple big bats on the other side to worry about. He also walks too many guys, but I mean, obviously the highest strikeout upside of anyone. Chris Archer also has a nice strikeout rate, but facing the Yankees, who are a pretty good offense against righties this year, not a guy I'm going to be playing a lot, but like Fiers, he's a guy with a bunch of upside too, though.
Yeah, small favorite in that one too. He's an interesting guy, like you said. Feels a lot more like a GPP play. He's turned in 2 really bad starts in a row. I think he only got through 3 2/3 last time out, and I'm pretty sure I had him that day. Yeah. So, I mean, he's a really hard guy to really like. I mean, Texans' offense has looked a little bit better, so maybe you can give him a little bit of a pass on that. But even the game before that, 6 innings against Baltimore, 4 earned runs. Not terrible, but nothing special either. Outside of that, I mean, I just mentioned Texas' offense looks better. Edinson Volquez, only 5,600 on DraftKings. I mean, that's a GPP play for me. He's probably going to be the cheap guy I'm looking at today if I'm going down really far. A very small favorite in that game. I mean, Volquez has been okay. He hasn't been, like, terrible. So I think he's a little bit underpriced here. If Texas can't keep that hot streak going, I think he's a decent play.
Yeah. I mean, he seems like he's been about exactly average. I mean, almost all of his numbers right around league average. So, not a guy you love, but a 5,600, like you said, he's a small favorite. You probably won't go negative. He'll give you something, and at that price, I mean, he's priced around the price of some expensive hitters, so you could certainly do much worse there.
And he had a couple of really nice games to start the year. I mean, he was the first 3 games of the season, he faced the White Sox and then Minnesota each twice, and was really strong against them. And then he kind of fell off against Detroit and really struggled against Cleveland in only 3 innings, but I mean, he's looked pretty good this year, so I think he's got some nice upside there for that price. I mean, it's too cheap to ignore, really.
Yeah, I'm absolutely with you there. I mean, really cheap price. And a guy I know we're all excited to watch, maybe we're not going to play a lot, is Noah Syndergaard. Yeah. Making his first start tonight. This guy, enormous strikeout rates in the minors, around 30+% at every level. Got kind of the Clayton Kershaw beard going on, so I don't know. He looks like a guy that's ready to dominate. And
beards equal strikeouts. That's the way it works.
Exactly. I mean, just ask guys like Matt Shoemaker. That's all he's really good at. But, I mean, think about it here. You got the team that strikes out the most in the league against righties, against a guy who none of them have ever seen. He's got great stuff. One of, if not the top prospect in the game right now. I mean, I'm excited to see him. Certainly not playing him in cash games, but I'll probably throw him in a couple of GPPs. And I think DraftKings and FanDuel were both ready for this one. He's at 7,200. He's not priced like a guy that just came up. Like they know what kind of talent this kid has.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I think he's a decent tournament play also. I don't really love paying that price because you got to think he's probably not going more than 5, 6 innings in this one.
Yeah.
That's the concern there. I mean, he's going to need a ton of strikeouts to give you real nice GPP upside on the prices that he's sitting at. So it'll be interesting to see how heavily owned he is. As far as the rest of the pitchers, I mean, there's no one else I'm really super excited about here. Colin McHugh's a guy I might use a little bit in GPPs. He looked a lot better in his last start, 7 strikeouts and 7 innings against the Angels. But he's really struggled on the season and was like wasting some really good matchups for a while there. I think Seattle and San Diego, at San Diego too. But I mean, I think he has some decent upside still with his strikeouts. He can pitch deep into games, so he's probably the last guy I'm going to be looking at just as a higher priced, low owned tournament option.
Yeah, one other guy I am considering for options a little bit is Ian Kennedy. Seattle, obviously, Safeco's the pitcher's park. They haven't been the offense they were last year. $8,100, obviously a steep price tag, but that'll keep his ownership down. And he's looked good over his last 2 games, much better than he did early in the season, and he left with an injury. So, I mean, not a guy I have a ton of confidence in, but he's certainly got some upside here in this matchup. All right, let's go ahead and move on here to catcher, where at $3,400, Derek Norris is by far my favorite play. It's not particularly close. He's got a lefty in James Paxton. We know he mashes lefties. And then another guy, Stephen Vogt, who is really good against left-handed pitching, and now he gets Justin Masterson tonight. So, or I'm sorry, other way around. Really good against right-handed pitching. Justin Masterson bad against lefties. Stephen Vogt, $3,900, still too cheap. Talk about him all the time.
Yep, absolutely. There was one other guy that I was liking quite a bit today. I lost it though now. Oh, Montero against Syndergaard, actually. Yeah. Montero looked pretty good. I believe he hit 4th yesterday. Is that right?
I think so. It was either 4th or 5th.
Yeah, so, I mean, lefty-righty matchup for him. Yeah, he's at 4th 4 games in a row now, actually. Lefty-righty matchup for him. Nice spot. Obviously, guy strikes out a decent amount, but, I mean, we're not getting penalized for strikeouts, so it's the same as any other out. And, I mean, there's a decent chance he runs into one against a guy making his first major league start. I think he's a pretty strong catcher play today also. Yeah,
I like that call. And one more guy I'm going to throw out there is Yasmani Grandal. Obviously, switch hitter. Dan Herron really struggles against lefties, so I think he's certainly a play at $4,300 if you're paying up.
Yeah, definitely. Outside of that, nothing I'm really loving. I believe if Norris isn't playing today for San Diego, their backup catcher that they just called up a couple games ago, Austin Hedges, has been playing a decent amount against lefties too. Maybe Norris plays the infield or something today, but that's at Seattle, so it has a DH, isn't it? So he's almost definitely going to play today then.
Yeah, and he's
I like that play. Yeah, bare minimum at 2,000, facing a lefty. He hit lefties really well in the minor leagues. I think he's a decent punt play. He might even get up into the 6-7 hole against a lefty because, I mean, he's really crushed lefties in his career. So he's a really interesting play for me today.
Yeah, that's a really good find at 2K. So you can do a lot with the lineup if you find one guy at $2,000. So that's a nice find. Let's move on here to first base. You've got Freddie Freeman is in a great spot tonight against Dave Sclafani, who's really struggled against lefties. Obviously, Anthony Rizzo, if you want to target the new guy, 5,200, he's got some big-time upside as well. Some other guys you're going to look at, Prince Fielder got a hold of one last night. Edson Volquez, like we said, average, but Prince Fielder's a guy we've been talking about all year. Been hitting the ball well, finally getting his power stroke going, so he's certainly in play as well. And Pedro Alvarez, a really good play in the tournament against Sean O'Sullivan, who's gotten crushed by lefties already early this season.
Yep.
Who else are you looking at here at first base?
I mean, you mentioned most of the guys I'm looking at. I like Freddie Freeman a decent amount, but he's getting really expensive now. I'd probably rather go with Rizzo in this one. Or, I mean, Joey Votto at 4,500 against a righty is like, I mean, he's going to be my cash game first baseman most likely.
Yep.
I mean, he's just too good of a play at that price. He needs to be at the 5,000 range like the rest of these guys are. Jose Abreu had a nice game last night. He went 3 for 5 with 2 RBI. Obviously a strong play at 4,600. Probably going to be more of a tournament play for me because I prefer the safety of Votto, but Abreu's got massive upside. Fears makes a lot of mistakes. I think Abreu's probably my favorite GPP play because of his price.
Yeah, you got to love that. Miller Park against a home run pitcher. Certainly a ton of upside for him there. Chris Colabello at 2,600 has been locked into that 6-hole recently and really cheap. You're obviously probably not going to punt first base, but you can get him as a really cheap outfielder as well if you like the 2,600. I like him.
Yeah, I was going to mention him in the outfield. Definitely a great play there. Adam LaRoche, 3,400, decent option. Same thing with Abreu, but he's a lefty, and he hits righties pretty well. It sounds like Ike Davis is probably going to miss tonight, which means I'm guessing Kana is going to start at first base, but he's priced up a little bit more than he has been. I think he's all the way up to 3,400. It makes no sense how he's 900 more than Ike Davis to me, but, I mean, yeah. So if Ike Davis plays, I mean, look at him again. He's still in the low 2,000s on DraftKings, but I'm guessing he sits out tonight. I think he missed yesterday's game. They didn't disclose his injury, which is weird. It might be a personal thing, which is probably make it more likely that he doesn't play again today.
Yeah, I know. They said it was like a precautionary thing. I don't know exactly what happened either, but
yeah, they didn't really say anything. They're supposed to say today sometime during the day, so we'll have to check that out.
Yeah, definitely. But keep your eye on that as we move forward. Moving on to second base here, Robinson Cano, $4,000 against Ian Kennedy at home against a righty. Certainly in play. D. Gordon at 5K is a little bit much for me. He's a GPP play with his upside. Louis Valbuena, $3,900 against a righty at home. I like him. Dustin Pedroia is still too cheap at $3,800 as well.
Yeah, definitely. I don't mind Howie Kendrick against Dan Heron today for 3,700. Just kind of a price play for me. Nothing to love about the matchup, really, but I think he's a decent play here. Pedroia against the lefty Pomerantz for 3,800. Most likely going to be one of the higher-owned second basemen, I think. Not too much else here that I'm really loving. Looking at a couple of value plays here, but nothing that really stands out to me. Jose Ramirez, if he's hitting second again, I don't love him against Lance Lynn, but 2,900 for a guy hitting second in the order would be solid. Same kind of deal with Alex Guerrero for the Dodgers. If he's hitting higher up in the order, I think you can look at him a little bit for 2,800. No one I'm really loving, though. I mean, those are just kind of like punt options for me. I think I'd rather spend on one of these better bats at second base and save some money in the outfield today.
Yeah, I'm with you there. One other cheap guy I'll throw out there is Devin Travis at $3,300 against Chris Tillman, who's just been pretty terrible so far this season. So
yeah, Travis has been really struggling lately, though.
Yeah.
He had 2 nice games in a row before last night. But prior to that, he had been struggling for 4 or 5 games in a row. So, like you said, nice price on him. Been really up and down lately, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely not a cash game play there at all. Moving here to third base, where Adrian Beltre made for a great play last night. I still like him, but his price is getting kind of high at $4,600. We already mentioned Pedro Alvarez. You can get him at first or third base. Louis Valbuena, same thing for him there. I really like Nolan Arenado at $3,900 against C.J. Wilson. Wilson has not been very good against righties. We know Arenado great against lefties, and he actually has better splits on the road than at home this year. And I think that's just way too cheap of a price tag, despite this being a pitcher's park tonight.
Yeah, definitely. I'll mention Chris Bryant again. 2 home runs in the last 3 games now. It looks like he's finally settling in a little bit. I mean, he can hit a ton of home runs in a really short amount of time here, and 4,300 just feels really cheap for him against a guy who's making his first start again.
Yep.
I actually like him quite a bit more hitting the 2-hole. Looks like he has a little bit less pressure on him in the 2-hole. Where with the way Rizzo was playing, I mean, he was batting with guys on base every single time up, and it seemed like he was putting a lot of pressure on himself. Since they moved him into the 2-hole, he's looked great. He's being more aggressive, taking less pitches. I think he's going to be a really strong play today at 4,300 against a rookie.
Yeah, absolutely. Yunel Escobar is another guy who's swinging a hot bat. He's got 2 5-hit games over his last 8 days at $3,600.
Yep.
He's an interesting play there. And then, of course, Kyle Seager, $3,500, once again at home against a slightly above average righty, but not a great righty in Ian Kennedy.
Yeah, definitely. Not too much else I'm really liking cheap-wise. I don't mind Solarte against the lefty in Paxson. He has a little bit more power from the right side. He's like 3,000. Second base, third base eligibility. The rest of the cheap guys all have shortstop eligibility, so I'd rather talk about them there because there's a better chance I'm punting shortstop tonight.
Yeah, I'm with you there. If you are not punting shortstop, though, Troy Tulowitzki against a average at best lefty and C.J. Wilson.
Yep.
I love him tonight at $4,400. He's the 3rd most expensive shortstop since Hanley Ramirez has that eligibility there again. Hanley Ramirez also in a fine spot against Pomerantz. So If you're paying up, it's got to be Hanley Ramirez or Troy Tulowitzki. There's no way I'm touching Ian Desmond right in between their prices there.
Right, exactly.
And
I mean, Tulo's been just so boring, though.
Yep.
Like, so
He's hitting a ton of doubles, though. So
I know. He's got a decent amount of doubles on the year, but I mean, even lately, he's been hitting pretty... Like, I think he hasn't hit 3 games in a row and has yet to crack 10 DraftKings points, though.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, he's just been really boring. But for 4,400, it's really hard to argue with. I prefer him to Hanley today. I love the matchup for Hanley, but he still looks like he's banged up. He hasn't been putting any power into anything. I think he's like 1 for his last 12 or something like that. Since he came back from that injury that caused him to miss 3 games, I'd much rather go Tulo here for sure.
Absolutely. If you're going cheaper there, I still love Marwin Gonzalez if he's batting second at $2,900. Are there any other cheap guys you're looking at over here?
I mean, Freddie Galvis is 3,000 again. Same kind of situation. We mentioned Jose Ramirez at second base. He has shortstop eligibility also at 2,900. One interesting guy, if he plays today, is I don't know how to say his last name, but Rafael Ynoa.
I think it's Ynoa.
Okay,
but
yeah, he's 2,400. He's 2,400 facing a lefty. I looked at his splits a little bit. His batting average is much better from the left side of the plate. He has a little bit more doubles power and gap power from the right side of the plate. I mean, he's probably going to hit 7th or 8th at best, so nothing special there. But for 2,400, if you're looking to really punt shortstop, if he's in the lineup, I think he's a decent play also.
Yeah, especially if you're trying to get a piece of C.J. Wilson there, so I don't mind that play at all. All right, moving on to the outfield here. Bryce Harper is $5,300. Just missed hitting another home run last night, much to the chagrin of people like me who had him in a ton of contests. But he's still just hot. I mean, he's walking. He's giving you great at-bats every time up. I mean, if you can afford him, I think he's still my top option tonight. I don't even think it's particularly close. Andrew McCutcheon in a fine spot against Sean O'Sullivan, but I prefer lefties against him here. So for me, it's Harper if I'm paying up. Starling Marte is another guy. I like the Pittsburgh bats a lot. He's certainly a play. I guess we should have mentioned Neil Walker at second and third base. I like him as well.
Yeah, he's a pretty strong play at both of those positions. A guy I loved last night, Gregory Polanco. You mentioned the Pittsburgh outfielders. He had a really nice game last night. Got on base 3 times. Had a steal. I mean, he's just a really strong play anytime they're facing a not-so-good right-handed pitcher. I mean, I think he's going to be probably their best outfielder in a little while. I mean, he's looked great on the young season. McCutcheon's been struggling a little bit, but he's got it going a little bit too. Their outfield just looks really strong right now.
Oh yeah, all those guys can kind of do it all. They steal bases, they hit. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff going on in that Pittsburgh outfield right now.
Yeah, I mean, even last time McCutcheon struggled again. I think he got on base twice with 2 walks. I think he walked with the bases loaded one time for an RBI. So, I mean, when all 3 of those guys are hitting like that, I don't love paying $5,000 for Starling Marte. I'd take McCutcheon for $5,300 or go down and take Polanco for $4,300. But especially against a righty, it's just not really worth it to me, even though he's been playing really well.
Yeah. Right around that price also, Justin Upton against the lefty and James Paxton, $4,800. I love him. He's got a nice price. And Denard Span's the guy's been hitting the ball really well. Roby De La Rosa really struggles with lefties. He's $4,700. Really expensive, but I mean, I think more of a tournament option probably than at that price.
Yeah, definitely. As far as cheap guys go, you mentioned Cobayello at first base, $2,600 in the outfield. I've been hitting 6, 7 in the order. Whenever he's 6, I'm pretty much getting him in my lineup every time.
Yep.
Preston Tucker, bare minimum at $2,000 for Houston in the outfield. Facing a righty today. He's been hitting 8, 9 though, which is a little frustrating. Depending on where they hit the pitcher. So, I mean, but for $2,000, kind of hard to argue with a guy that's been actually hitting pretty well. Not a ton else I like cheap-wise in the outfield today, though. I like Josh Reddick a little bit, but he's not even that cheap. $3,700. Is facing a righty in Masterson that's really struggled with lefties. I like him. I don't like the price, but I think it makes him a pretty good GPP play because he's not going to be heavy owned at $3,700.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Billy Burns, another guy that's cheap if he's leading off again at $2,700.
Yeah.
That's like you already mentioned about Masterson. Joey Butler hit 6 last night. If he's hitting 6, they said he'll get some time against righties. He's usually just against lefties. But if he's in the lineup, he had a homer last night, $2,300. He's not a bad punt play either, I don't think.
Right. Outside of that, not too much I'm loving.
No, that'll be about it for me as well. So find us on Twitter at DF Cafe and check out all of our awesome content for tonight's slate at dailyfantasycafe.com, and we will see you tomorrow.